Hello everyone, my name is Jen and welcome to the Book Refuge. Alright, welcome to another oddly specific book recommendation, and today I'm bringing you one that this was put into my video request form by Daniela. Hi Daniela. She knows that I'm filming this because we were just talking about it earlier today. If you don't know what I mean by quick off the mark, let me explain myself, as I do with some of these oddly specific book recommendations. So when we talk quick off the mark, we mean not necessarily premature endings or premature ejaculation, although that's what it might seem like. But more so, we mean in the terms of the hero is so gone for the heroine, is so into her pleasure and what's happening between them that he arrives early, that he comes early, basically is what it means. So whether that is, well, there's two different parts. There's either like he literally comes too soon, or he comes just from pleasing her. So I have some that fit on both ends of this. And then I also have two books that I discovered that I haven't read them yet that I'll also mention. But yeah, I think I have 8 recommendations of ones I have read and 2 that are ones that I want to read. And would love to know if you guys have read and you've seen this. And as always, since the comments of these videos are also meant to give recommendations for other people as well, if you've read a book that has this, please comment down below. But if you don't have a comment on that, please still like this video, say hi in the comments, because that helps this video get noticed. So this is the only cases in which coming too early can be extremely satisfying for us as the readers, because we know what it means. And I first want to start with the recommendation that is the inspiration for this title, and it comes from A Court of Silver Flames, when there is a scene between Nesta and Cassian comes too soon, and Nesta, to try to cut him, because this is an antagonistic relationship in the beginning. Nesta's working through some stuff. She says, aren't we a little quick off the mark? So this is the recommendation I have that I picked the title from for this, because I didn't want to title the book Premature Ejaculation or He Comes in His Pants. I didn't want to call it that. But that's basically what we're talking about, and that happens to Cassian, and it is very humiliating for him, mostly because Nesta is trying to take a dig at him. Again, in not all of these books is it embarrassing. Some of the heroines are very turned on by the fact that they pushed the hero to this. But yeah, this is one that I of course have to recommend first because it's inspired the name of this. But it happens in this one, and it is extremely hot in my opinion. Poor Cassian. But I also love that it happened. Next, I have a recommendation that I think a lot of people will probably think of when they think of this one, because it's a book that is more in the pop culture is the wrong thing, but it's on the bookstagrams, it's on everybody's romance recommendations list right now, and in my opinion has one of the hottest versions of a very mature and put together man just absolutely losing his mind for the woman that he's panting after. And of course that's Heartless, because why wouldn't Daddy Cade be in this list? Just to show how gone for Willa that he is. The scene in question in this book involves them. They've been playing this game back and forth with each other for quite a while, and there's finally a moment where they're alone, and Luke is preoccupied, and they start making out, and it's the first time they're really going at it, and he just loses it. And there's a really beautiful scene of he literally comes in his pants like a teenager, and then he runs away like a little bitch. But you know what? He makes up for it in really good fashion later on. He definitely does. So definitely have to recommend this, as if there isn't 102 reasons why I recommend Heartless. But whew, it's a hot scene. It's so good. Another one that is an absolute favorite of mine, and like this hero slash, I mean, he's a villain, just holds nothing back for sure. And in his case, a part of it is that he's never really like fully had a sexual relationship with someone. So even though he is the enemy of old and is extremely old, vampires don't become like sexually active until they like have their mate, which is really fascinating. Doesn't mean that he doesn't know things about sex, but he's never really had it, because you only have sex with your mate. And this is the type of story of like Lothar is very mad at fate for who his fated mate is. And so he is almost like offended that he's so turned on by this woman. But when he's getting his first real taste of her, he just cannot keep it in his pants, even though the cum definitely comes in his pants. There is a time when he like comes in his pants. There's also a time where he like comes on the floor when he's going down on her and getting with her. Like he's coming all over Elizabeth. Let's just put it out there. Okay. He's coming all over Ellie, and it's pretty hot. Okay. This is one of the hottest, and it's one of my favorite books of all time, but Lothar definitely is quick off the mark a few times. It's pretty great. Then I also want to share a more recent read as well, which Daniela actually reminded me about it because she was like, that's one of the books that made me request this video. And that one's going to be Surrendering to the Duke by Stevie Sparks. Now, the cases in this is a very sexy book, by the way. And I really love it because this has one of my favorite things in books, besides man coming in his pants, is like BDSM / like sexual healing. And we have a heroine who has been traumatized by some abuse in her past, and the hero is very determined to take his time with her. So there are quite a few scenes in the beginning of their, like when they're exploring each other, where the hero is like, this is all about you. This is just about getting you comfortable with sexual touches and like feeling treasured and things like that. And so one of their first scenes together, he cannot hold himself back. And he's just kind of like, I'm so intoxicated by this woman. There's also a scene of some face sitting that happens in this that is just beautiful. This is actually, I should tell you a bit more about this romance, sorry, besides just talking about the sexual stuff. But this romance actually takes place in I think it's 1919. It's a between the war story. So the cover of this one isn't perfectly historically accurate, but this one is a widow and a single mother, and she's been staying with her husband's family, and her husband's younger brother is now the Duke. But he's kind of not been seeing to his responsibilities because he, not only does he already has had a thing for his brother's wife, it's very hard for him to go home because he loved his brother. So it's that kind of thing of like, he loved his brother, and so it's difficult for him to be there. But now the mother-in-law of the heroine and this hero's father, she wants to kind of push these two together because she's like, this is the perfect solution. You will, you need to look for a wife anyway because you're now the Duke, and she needs security and protection. He's like, well, I'm going to take care of her no matter what, as my brother's widow, like I'm going to take care of her. But there's such feeling between the two of them because her marriage with his brother was a marriage of convenience. It was a very amicable one, though. It wasn't an abusive one. I know I mentioned she had trauma in her past. It was not from her first husband, but he was very much more a friend than anything else, and they have their child together, but then the war happened, and so they were never really that close. But Emmeline and Michael get their chance at an HEA, and it's really beautiful. I love this story so much, and it's also very sexy. This one is like a 4 on the spice scale, if not higher than that. We actually have a few historicals for this, which I love. We have 2 other ones I want to share. One of them is A Week to be Wicked by Tessa Dare, and this one was Minerva and Colin, and so they actually do a fake engagement, and also it's like a road trip, so they are pretending that they're eloping together, and they end up on this long road trip together. So I don't fully remember the specific scene in this one. So what happens when I do these oddly specific recs, I don't always remember like every single detail, but I very much trust the people who shared this one. If that ends up being wrong and it has been misremembered, feel free to correct, but someone mentioned that one. The other one that I do remember is One Good Earl Deserves a Lover by Sarah McLean. And this one is between Pippa and Cross. And I love this one. I actually love this series by Sarah McLean, but this is one that has like a teach me vibe going on. Like the heroine wants to learn about sex and she asks the hero to do that because he is seen as a playboy and a Lothario. And so she wants him to teach her, you know, all the magical wiles and everything. And she's a very like bookish heroine. This is a heroine with glasses and stuff. And there is a scene when he is teaching her the oral pleasures and he comes in his breeches. So good on him. Good on him. Then we have Against a Wall by Kate C. Wells. And this one is Cash and Glenna. So this one isn't him coming in his pants. This is him coming too soon. But I love this scene and I love how this plays out. So this one is a fake dating romance, but it's also kind of a childhood bully. I know it's tough to explain it. It's like the hero is kind of accidentally a bully to the heroine. She sees him as her big bad, her ex-best friend's brother who was a bully to her after her friendship with his sister went badly. There's a lot of misunderstandings wrapped up in it, and I know that this book can be very frustrating for some people. The first half of this was very frustrating for me, but what makes it work for me is when we're in Cash's head. We realize that, number one, pretty much everything he's done has been misconstrued. He's a bit of a himbo. He's kind of dumb, and I say that with pure love in my heart for Cash, okay? I say it with love. He thought he was gently teasing her, and she has taken it as extremely offensive. And because he's a very popular man in this small town, his teasing turned into other people also teasing her who were not doing it because they had a crush on her. They're doing it because they're mean people. So she's always had a hard thought of him. But when they end up in this fake dating situation, he decides to use it as his chance to finally get this woman that he wants so much. So when things have finally progressed to the sexual part between them, he says to her, like right before it's happening, he's like, I'm going to come the minute that I get inside you. He says it. He's like, I am so hot for you. The minute that I get in you, I'm going to come. But don't worry. He doesn't say this, but he's like, I got a quick refractory period and then I will take care of you. So he doesn't say refractory period, but he's like, I'm going to come right away. He literally says it, and it's honestly like so endearing because that's what happens. Now, the heroine, she's a bit lost in pleasure and she's really feeling it. And so when he gets in her and he comes right away, she starts feeling like, oh my gosh, she's going to stop, because that is what's happened to her in the past is, you know, once the man has found pleasure, he just stopped. That is not the case with Cash. He had just wanted to warn her, like, the minute that I get into your welcoming embrace, I'm going to come, but just wait. So that's what happens, is he, like, gets it immediately, like, not even, like, 10 seconds he has. But then he gets hard again and they get going again. And it's, like, he's so endearing. I don't know another way to say it. The man is super endearing and it's really hot. It's really hot. All right, then the last one that I have read that I have to recommend, like I said, I have two like bonus recs that I haven't vetted them myself yet, but I want to check them out. There is Fix Her Up by Tessa Bailey. So this one is actually more of like a hot, like dry humping scene. When I was picking books for this, there actually were like a lot of recs for just like dry humping scenes, which usually is someone like coming in their pants anyway or whatever. But this one was really hot because Travis and Georgie, this is also a fake dating romance and brother's best friend, but also like fake dating to help Georgie look more like grown up and to help him look like he's been tamed a little bit. He is a baseball star who's in a bit of hot water, and she is part of the small town, again, his best friend's little sister. And he still sees her as kind of like awkward Georgie, and she wants to prove that she is a grown-up and, you know, wants to make herself look more responsible to her family. And so they end up in this fake dating scenario. And in one of their sexual scenarios, he's like, we're not gonna fully have sex. I don't want us to go that far. but he makes her keep her panties on, and then like they basically like hump until he comes and she comes, and it's pretty hot. So I thought to include it, even though it's not quite all of it. But there's a really hot line that he says, that he's like, how dare you make me come this hard with your panties still on. So I'll just leave you with that, okay? I'll leave you with that about Fix Her Up. And then the other two I want to mention is, I had someone mention The Lord I Left by Scarlett Peckham. And this one makes sense to me because this one has a virgin hero, and our heroine is actually training to become a like mistress, and he is a like I think he's a missionary. I don't know if he's like a preacher or like what it is, but he's trying to save her, and they end up having a fling. And this one says that, I assume this one is some good like dry humping that happens in this one too, or some playing with him until that happens. Again, not 100% sure. And then the other one is one I do actually want to try, because I've read one by this author before and I liked it. This one is called Wedding Night by Katie Wilde. Apparently this one has that in it as well. So there you go. This is one of my oddly specific romance recs. There's not too much else to say about these books because I'm recommending them for a very specific part of it. These are, funny enough, a lot of these ended up being fake dating. That's kind of funny how that works. There's literally like 4 out of these that ended up being that. But I would absolutely love to know if you have any recommendations for this trope, as well as all the viewers will as well. So please make sure you check that out. If you like this video and you'd like to support my channel, please consider checking out my Patreon or my channel memberships. Channel members get early access to all these videos. They also get a vote on the content that I do here. And patrons get bonus access to behind-the-scenes vlogs and things like that. So thank you so much for watching. If you would like to suggest a specific, oddly specific rec, I do have a form down below you can fill out. You just let me know the topic and I'll see if I can do it. So thanks so much for watching, everyone, and I'll see you next time. Bye.